Alright, so let's just wrap up this AJ Wilder thing. And Wilder, definitely, pay attention. Definitely hear me out. Pay attention to your fan base, and this goes to any boxer. Pay attention to what your fan base wants. You can't keep striving to try to prove something to a fan base that's never gonna celebrate you. It's a waste of time. We seen this with Floyd when they constantly said Floyd was scared of Pacquiao, Floyd this, Floyd that. Even right before the fight, you had all of these same guys saying that Pacquiao was going to whoop Floyd, and it's over with. You had him on a Nike commercial doing the doo-doo-doo and all that. And once Floyd made easy work of Pacquiao, he still didn't get the respect from those people. So these are people who, no matter what you do, you can go have the greatest performance. It's going to still be something wrong. They're going to only see what they want to see, and there will even be times where they see what's not even there. So anything to discredit you. So that's what's going on in this Wilder AJ situation. The people who hate Wilder, mostly in the States, like I say, there's still a racial bias, a big racial bias, especially in boxing. And I think it's still due to the culture that goes on in society, but it's also due to, in all of these other sports, all you get to see is the inner city black guy dominating. And boxing is the one sport where they feel they can just root for them, and you can just be racist and root for your own. But the problem is they're not just rooting for their own. They won't give credit, to specifically the American black man. You often see everyone else get pushed above, whether we're talking about pound for pound, or any other list, or any other rankings, or any other commentary, or any other mainstream discussions. It's always trying to push them to the back burner. You have to do twice as much and still don't get the credit. Lomachenko can have 10 fights. Speaking of when he had 10 fights, and he still can get put in a conversation for pound with the loss that early, 10 fights. And you can still put him over, guys who've had, 20, 30, 40 fights, unified the division, holding multiple belts in the toughest division. He can still get put over guys. So we understand what's going on. At that point, you have to just look at all these things as comical. Don't get emotional about them. Don't overreact and stop catering to that base. When they talk, like when the Eddie Hearn speaks to Wilder at this point, Wilder needs to brush it off. There was a point where Wilder's fan base wanted that fight with AJ, but at this point we're over it. We don't like the disrespect that Hearn's been given to him. We don't like how Joshua tries to play innocent and just play the back because, you even though he's from the UK, you're allowing another black man to get disrespected. He shouldn't even be comfortable with the splits and the negotiation and the way that Wilder was being talked to, because if you reverse the role and you put him, in the States, he would try to treat him the same way. So, we've seen how respectful it got, in the negotiations with Canelo and Triple G when you're dealing with two, white foreigners. We understand he's from Mexico, but we're talking about just in the perception. In America, you viewed, white Mexican, black Mexican, white Kazakhstan, black Kazakhstan guy, whatever like that. But we seen they came to a respectful contract, and even the one before this one was still a respectful number. It wasn't as close, but when you get to the 40, he gets 40 and he gets 50, 42 and he gets 57. That's respectful, and it's a similar thing. You got a guy who's knocking people out, but then you have another guy who's a bigger star, who's put on bigger shows, and it's a similar situation with Wilder and AJ. But Wilder just isn't getting any respect, and he shouldn't go into these negotiations any further. He shouldn't be reaching out, shouldn't be chasing AJ for the fight. No initial offers, no more upfront $50 million. All that has to be out the window. The disrespect just went too far. If they do come back, no upfront money, and you're not taking any split that's different than what Triple G and Canelo did. If they can't come to that, then hey, you wait for AJ to lose, or just keep going and building your career and chasing 50-0 and just chasing history that way. your career can go on without AJ. There are other big fights out there, and eventually there'll be another super fight that arises, and just go for that. But at this point, the disrespect with Eddie Hearn and AJ, and how AJ just playing the back. When he said he didn't want to fight the 2020, he meant that he understands that he's not going to be able to cope with losing to a Wilder. Over there, they can have him live in that delusion of just being the toughest, being the best guy, and that's something that he wants to hold on to as long as possible. It's an intimidation when a guy isn't intimidated, and the mentality of the American black man is just a little bit different. It's a little more edge, you know, and he doesn't have that confidence. He doesn't understand how Wilder will take that big of a pay cut and still come to the UK and still be that confident. You know, he understands what that means that this guy's coming. You know, it's different. It's different. He can see that, and he really wants no parts of that, and he's hiding behind Eddie Hearn. So let them hide. Let them guys do their thing. Let them live in their delusion. Don't set no Wilder. Don't take any shorts if the negotiations come back around. Don't chase them, and don't set a precedent for an American black star to get robbed in a big fight when you've gone 40-0 and you've knocked out every opponent that you fought and you're a champion. Don't go for it. We understand in the UK, the biggest leverage that he has is the UK fans support all of their fighters and their countrymen, regardless of color. If you was from the UK, you would be just as big a star, if not bigger. Unfortunately in America, that's not what goes on. They'll support the foreigner before they support the American black guy, because they still see the American black guy as not one of them. You know, so this is the sport where, you know, they can really express how they feel and then hide behind, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, in the 60s and this and that, the NBA and NFL wasn't as big then, you know, so it was a different time period. Let's stick in today. If you're from the areas, you understand what I'm talking about. You're from the trenches, you're from the mud, you're from the inner city, man. You know what I'm saying. But those who don't get it, we're not trying to make you get it. That's cool. Those who get it, salute to you. Keep supporting boxing. Wilder, keep chasing greatness. You don't need AJ.